I just finished up my DIY under cabinet lighting. Let's see if it works. Oh yeah. So when we started this kitchen project, I wasn't sure about under cabinet lighting. I really didn't want to ask the contractor to do it because, you know, they charge an arm and a leg. But thinking ahead, I thought I'm going to need the wires there. There's no other way to get wires there. It's really difficult. So while they had the cabinets torn down and while they were doing the electricals, I said, can you go ahead and run this low voltage wiring straight down to the basement and I'll take it from there. So they did that. They put the wires in under the cabinets, a couple feet long, and they left the remainder down the basement and I did all the rest of the wiring. Boy, I'll tell you, it's worth it. It looks amazing. We did pay extra for this. This is called light rail molding that goes under the cabinets, and well, it's for that, for a light rail. And so that's where we've mounted this strip along the bottom. Now, if we didn't get light rail molding, the cabinet would have stuck down like this, and there's still plenty of space for an LED bar under the front lip of the cabinet, which you can't see here because of the light rail molding. But there's plenty of space without the light rail molding for it too. You'll have to decide whether it's worth the extra couple $100 to get light rail molding. It looks real nice. And it definitely adds value to the cabinets in the kitchen. So the rails that hold the LEDs are shown here. They're simply extruded aluminum with plastic covers to give it a frosted look. I bought these on Amazon. You have a link in the description. 3 feet times 6 pieces. Pretty cheap compared to buying them from the LED store, which is insanely expensive. And this one came with all the free hardware and screws, whereas the other one you had to buy it all separately. So here's the plastic lens material, and I just cut this one down. It's only needed to have about 3 inches off one end. And so we just slide this in. And slide it past the other end because I cut some off, so now it's short. And then just make sure the far end is lined up. And go ahead and snip this end off with scissors. That easy. As I mentioned before, these lights are 12 volts, and I went with 12 volts because you can cut them every 2 inches. So that means you can have 2-inch increments here. The 24 volt ones, you have to cut in 4-inch increments, and so it may not be as convenient. So to lay these down is real easy. They're self-adhesive. Provided you can get the adhesive backing material off, it's pretty easy to get them down. The question here is, how long can you get it? Because of course you want it to be as long as possible. So for this one, I have to cut it right here. They show little marks where the strip can be cut. So I cut it right there, and now I can solder right to those points. And I found a nice way to lay these on is to just take the backing off a little bit at a time so that you can maintain the centering. And push these down a little bit as you go. So I'm just stripping the backing off as I go, so I can make sure it's nice and straight. And then we just push it down everywhere, make sure it's stuck really good. The aluminum also acts as a heat sink for the LEDs, and that means the LEDs run brighter and cooler, so they're happier. There we go, the LEDs are in. This piece is cut to length. Now we just need to solder the wires on. You can see some of the low voltage wires coming together here that we ran in the kitchen while it was under construction. Just got them all wire nutted together here. And we run them right over to the outlet here with the LED power supply on it. This little guy. And that switch is connected upstairs to the main power switch for the under cabinet lighting. Really easy install. Okay, so these little brackets hold the light bar in place, and just drilled the pilot hole here. Go ahead and try to get this in. Doesn't have to be super tight, but I want it just a little bit tight. There we go, until it starts to snug in place. Alright, so I've just soldered the two wires on here, and we're going to go ahead and install this light under the cabinet. Okay, we've got both brackets installed now, and the light bar is on and ready to go. I went ahead and got the 12 volt lights because you can cut them at 2-inch intervals, whereas the 24-inch lights you have to do it at 4-inch intervals. Pop that in, and glorious light. Here's a view of the LED lighting under the cabinet. You can see this is the front of the cabinet here. There's the light strip and the rest of the cabinet behind it. And all the way over here in the back is the wire that runs down to the basement. I'll probably paint that one of these days. Once I finished the lighting, I noticed how dark it is in my Lazy Susan. I really wish I ran lighting for that one too. Maybe it's not too late. I could probably drill a hole through the bottom, up through my basement.